What is going on, YouTube? PPS back. It is Past the Prop Monday show here, Martin Luther King Day. We got a ton of NBA stretched throughout the day. Obviously, we have a Monday Night Football game, which, again, I'll say is weird for the playoffs here. But before we get into all that, joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a fun weekend of football, and that's really all we can ask for. You know, I was a little bit worried about the blowouts. I didn't know how these games were going to go. But I mean, I thought yesterday that Dolphins-Bills game was such a great way to start the day. Like all that mayhem, all the craziness, like, oh my God, are the Dolphins actually going to beat the Bills? You know, like I really enjoyed yesterday. So, you know, some of the bets didn't go exactly how I hoped they would, but still a good weekend of football, man. So I'm happy over here.
Yeah, all of the double-digit favorites that we talked that could be complete blowouts all were close. Obviously, Seattle was winning at half. We thought that one would get out of hand. Obviously, it did towards the end. We kind of expect that to be where it was. Obviously, you go to the Bills game, and Miami gave them a little scare as well. And even the Bengals, I mean, the Bengals probably should have lost, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it is what it is. Which team are you most concerned out of those three? I mean, we got three teams that should be pushing to make it to the Super Bowl. Which one are we leaning towards being like the one we're kind of worried about?
I think it's probably the Bengals. I think it's probably coaching, especially. Like, I do have some confidence in McDermott over there with the Bills. I do think they can get some stuff figured out. And also, they do have some insane pure talent. But the Bengals, the coaching does worry me a little bit, the in game decision making. And it's not like they had some kind of amazing comeback at the end. They got a lucky fumble and won the game because of it. You know, there wasn't any like rally at the end that really inspired me like, oh, okay, they got it figured out. You know, they were messing up at first, but they finally got it. No, there was nothing like that. It was just kind of a slow game from start to finish. And sometimes that happens when you play division rivals. So I think they should obviously get the benefit of the doubt there. But I don't know. I didn't see a lot of positives from the Bengals in that game. So that's probably my answer right now. What about you?
No, I was going to say the exact same thing. I was just worried. I just thought Burrow looked like shit. They ran the underneath routes every single time. They're throwing like 3-yard passes, couldn't get anything over the top. I mean, if you're the Bills, you do the same exact thing. Let them dump it off every single time. And Burrow, you know, we saw him scramble out of the pocket, but he has no business even with Josh Allen. You know, like if they do the same thing to him, Josh Allen just runs and gets 8 yards a pop, right? We saw Joe Burrow try to scramble a couple of those times at the end of that game, and it was just obviously extremely slow and only got like 2 or 3 yards. I'm worried, dude. I think that game, I'm very curious to see what they open it at. Do we have that line already?
I haven't seen it if we do. The only one I saw that's out 100%, I saw Eagles were 7.5 favorites over the Giants. That's all I saw so far.
That is now bet down to 7.
Oh.
Chiefs are 8.5. I'm checking right now, and then the Bills are 4-point favorites at home, and I would have to lean the Bills there pretty heavily. But I know it's going to be a shootout. It should be a fun game. 51.5 total. Hopefully the weather stays the same too. That you kind of get that nice weather that we had. But yeah, our last show was pretty good. Obviously we had John pop on. Thank you all you guys for popping on that one. That was a really cool stream. And obviously he did extremely well on the show as well with his picks and just kind of the way he does betting versus the way we do it. And obviously he's very successful in doing it. And it was definitely a profitable show. Obviously we didn't go through all of the stuff there because he had a bet in every single game. So we were a little bit behind on those, but I know he had at least four of them hit so far. And obviously we still have another game tonight to talk about. So another profitable show. We're coming over to tonight's game, Monday Night Football. Cowboys are still sitting at the 2.5-point favorites in Tampa. Why should I not be betting on the Cowboys here?
I don't know. Doesn't it not feel like when you go on the internet, the whole world is kind of giving this game to Tom Brady already?
Yes,
like,
I know. Exactly.
I mean, we watched the Bucs just be awful all season long. I mean, like, just legitimately, and even in their comeback in the second half of the season when they started winning some of these games, they looked awful for the first 3 quarters before finally, you know, running that hurry-up offense in the fourth quarter and, you know, barely pulling off wins against some pretty bad teams, by the way. Like, congrats on beating the Panthers. It probably shouldn't have been that close anyway. So, I kind of agree with you. The problem is I feel like both these teams are a little bit fraudulent right here. So I don't know if I'm going to have a take on the spread either way. It's a bit of a tough call for me, but I would definitely be leaning Cowboys just with how much people have just gifted this game to Tom Brady without anyone even stepping on the field yet.
Yeah, no, I don't even know why it's even this close. Honestly, I just think the Cowboys are a much superior team. Obviously, give yourself 2.5 points for being at home and stuff. But man, this is an interesting spot. Obviously, I'm leading the Cowboys as well. Obviously, the game against Washington was not making me feel better about me leaning that way. But I know you talked about an unofficial play at the end of our last show, right? I think you had an unofficial in this one. Did you want to just bring that up? And obviously, I won't put it up on the screen, but just so we could talk about it, and then I'll have a official one here.
Okay, wait. Are you leading me towards Chris Godwin or T.Y. Hilton? Which way are we going right here?
I don't know if I really want to hear about T.Y. Hilton.
That's fair. No, yeah, I'm on Chris Godwin. I ended up writing that one up for my FTN article. I don't know what the current line for Godwin is, so I'm not 100%, but I got his receptions at 6.5, minus 122. And I think, kind of like we were just saying with the Cowboys, they've been a little bit fraudulent in the second half of the season. The key really for me is that pass rush going to be what it was earlier in the year, right? That intimidating pass rush. And I think it will. I think it'll look better. They may not, destroy Brady. Obviously, that O-line is getting healthier. I saw their center was activated. I don't know what the health status there is on Jensen, but that's obviously a good piece to have back. But I do think the Cowboys pass rush is going to force Godwin to continue to get those checkdowns. That's where we know Brady thrives, right? On the show, I talked about his quarterback ADOT being 6.7 this year, which it's just slowly dropped every year. We saw it 9.1, then we saw 8.1, then 7 last year. Now it's down to 6. That's like Jared Goff category, right? Remember when we were betting Amon-Ra St. Brown last season, all those checkdowns just over and over again? It's almost that territory. And I mean, it's working, right? He's third in QB accuracy on throws between 0 and 10 yards. So it's clear he's very comfortable working in that, check down area. So I think Godwin does have a very good game right here. And I think this Cowboys secondary is very exploitable. So that's one I have out so far. And then, yeah, I'm probably going to end up on T.Y. Hilton in one way or another tonight, but we don't have to get super deep into that yet.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of my best balls is extremely well because I loaded up on Jags, and obviously I had a few of the Chargers in there mixed in, but I'm up like 46, and the other person I'm playing has my boy, the thumbnail, Tony Pollard, and Leonard Fournette. They need to get 46 points to beat me, and that's the lineup I have. My entire bench is all Chiefs and Eagles, so like they didn't even get to play. And we're doing pretty well. So hopefully we can make it through. Prayers up for that one. But I will have an official play in this one. And I'm going to be heading to a guy we talked about a little bit on show, and that's CeeDee Lamb, facing Tampa tonight. He got shut down in game 1, right? They played each other first game of the season. Dak looked like shit. It wasn't even anywhere close. I don't think we've seen Tampa play that well on defense the rest of the season, to be honest. I think that was their best performance. And I really don't even think that there's been a game that we can even talk about that has been relatively close to that performance. Maybe the Packer game, they looked decent in that one. But still, CeeDee Lamb has obviously been on a tear, hit this number in 3 of his last 4, over 100 in those 3 games. Obviously, we've seen him against Washington, and I think everybody was under their props in that game. So really didn't expect to see him hit it in that one. I think if he would have hit it in that one, we probably would have seen this at like 80, 85, right? Because he was 4 straight games. If he would have got 100 there, 4 straight 100-yard games, obviously we talked about it with my Herbert bet this past week, just the recency bias on the newer numbers, right? When these guys have missed it in a few games in a row. But CeeDee Lamb is obviously not even relatively close. The number 1 receiver here, 7+ targets in his last 4 games. We have double digit over 11 in the other 2. So 2 out of those 4 were into double digit targets. But what I really liked was just how bad Tampa was at the end of the season in games they had to win against number 1 receivers, right? We want to go in these last 3 games. And I mean, we're going to be all over the place, right? We have Desmond Ridder throwing 120 yards to Drake London, right? They have nobody else, dude. Well, who is it? Zacchaeus? Is Zacchaeus the number 2 on that team? It's Grove, right? There's nobody else there. I'm sorry, Zacchaeus, if you're watching. I didn't mean to talk shit, but yeah, okay. DJ Moore went for 115 on these dudes. And that's with Sam Darnold throwing them the ball, right? I mean, we could talk shit on Dak all day, right? You could talk shit on him. But is he better than Desmond Ridder? Is he better than Sam Darnold? Like, come on now. Like, we're fighting those. And then my boy, Greg Dortch, torched these dudes for 100 with Trace McSorley at quarterback. Like, you know where the ball is going when it's getting passed, right? There was really nobody else there. I'm pretty sure DeAndre didn't play in that game either. Or maybe he did. I don't know if he was just limited or whatever. But I look more at these last 3-4 games more than that first game where he was like 2 for 29. Dak played, I think, only half, and then Cooper Rush came in. So I cannot get away from CeeDee Lamb tonight. I'm gonna be all over CeeDee Lamb. Probably laddering him up, doing the whole Joe thing there up to 100. I think it's like 185. I can't get away from him. I really can't. I mean, he's just going to get peppered with targets. We've watched enough of these Dan Orlovsky videos of him just not looking at anyone else but Dak, right? It's one. Maybe I'll look at Dalton Schultz if I'm feeling frisky, and then I'm throwing it to CD anyway, dude. It's just I can't get away from him. I'm going right back to CD here, and I think he has a monster game. He has to win this game.
And I'm a Dalton Schultz guy, but I mean, this is a tough matchup, right? Those cover linebackers are very, very good for Tampa Bay. That's a strong unit right there. I'm with you. I'm going to be on CeeDee Lamb in one way, two, maybe three ways. I kind of agree with you on the latter in this one as well. It's one of those situations like we talked about before where this is a game I see at least 10 targets. And you bring us back to that first game of the season. I think some people will obviously use that as a huge negative. It definitely is something to keep in mind. But I mean, that's not a one-player kind of thing. That is an awful performance from a team, right? That team just came out and just no one did anything, right? So it's kind of real hard to get any useful data out of that when the whole team just came out absolutely flat. Now it's a little bit different. It's a playoff game. Everything matters. Win or go home right here. And like you said, I mean, his first read target share is pretty insane on this team. I mean, Gallup is not getting open. Noah Brown, who was a little prop guy for a couple weeks in there, is not getting open. Like, it's kind of Lamb or bust at this point. So I'm surprised it's this low. If you asked me to guess what his number would be, I'd probably say 79, maybe 81, something around there. So the fact that it's still this low, just a couple hours before kickoff, definitely makes me feel good right here. So I'm going to be on Lamb as well today. I love this spot, and yeah, I see 100+ yards tonight, 100%.
Love it. I do. Just can't get away from it, dude. Like we've just seen him get torched by so many number ones throughout the season. You go back to even when Matthew Stafford threw for 160 on him. Cooper Kupp had 130 of them. Like the number one, like where the ball's going and you still can't stop it. It's just really discouraging to see that from a defense that just can't, stop anybody really.
Yeah, I mean, and the Bucs pass defense, it's not that they've had some injuries and stuff. They're a pretty good unit overall, but a lot of the routes CeeDee Lamb's going to be running are routes that the defenses are normally pretty fine giving up, right? He'll obviously take those deep shots every once in a while, but CeeDee runs a lot of underneath routes, close to the line of scrimmage, just get the ball in your playmaker's hands. So that's good for us because it means more guaranteed yards, and then also the yak ability, right? He can make something happen after the catch. So I definitely agree with this spot. I think he's going to have a good game.
Love it. Before we take a huge left turn over to NBA, let's take a look at the chat. Take a look at who's all in here. We got Jack Bollinger. Is this Jay? Is that Jay? I think that might be Jay because I it's the only guy I know who has the red circle on there. Carly, welcome. Dan in here live. We love to see it. We got Plus Money Bob in here as well. I'm okay. You don't have the school and stuff there, so awesome to see you. I'm not even going to click the one above that, and will not even acknowledge that 2-touchdown T.Y. Hilton. Won't even click that one. So we'll pass up on that. Sorry, Dan. But heading over to NBA. Before we even get started, we got Super Onion Ring in here bringing up a question here. Giannis, 31.5 points. Obviously, I think that this is a fantastic matchup. I'm almost worried that we're only going to see that 31-minute type of game here at home against the Pacers team without Tyrese. I would be all over Tyrese if he was, because he's back home. Obviously, he's from like Oshkosh, which is like 30 minutes from my hometown there. So I thought he would have a huge game, but obviously he's out. If Miles Turner's out again, I don't know what. I mean, the over under 7 minutes for Isaiah Jackson before fouling out is probably under. But, I mean, again, this might be one of your free throw bets that you like to do, Stu. This might be one of those ones where Giannis doesn't even play the fourth because they're going to be up by so much. I'm not a spread better, but this would be one I probably would sprinkle on that 10-point spread. I think that's even a little bit too close. Or Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield might be a guy I look to here.
I agree, man. I considered Giannis for one of my plays today as well. I mean, it's a perfect matchup. Like, neither of us are up here going to be, saying anything like that, right? No one on the Pacers is really in a position to slow him down that much. So I love Giannis today, but like you said, the blowout is the biggest concern. I mean, who can really keep this game close for the Pacers? I don't like betting on blowouts. It's an unfortunate side of the NBA, especially day games can get a little bit crazy sometimes. So I just kind of had to stay away, unfortunately. But I understand every reason why you'd like it. Like, it's a phenomenal matchup right here. It's just one of those situations where the Tyrese less Pacers are not a team that I'm fond of
trying to bet on, like going out of your way to bet on. There's more games. Yeah. All right, Alan, bringing up one more question before we get to our plays here. Is Jalen Green playing today? I know he was suspended. Is he playing?
Was that one game suspension? Are they in a back-to-back? Was that yesterday? Did he serve that already?
All I saw was him and Jayshawn Tate had a suspension. Maybe they played yesterday. I don't remember. I didn't bet on any NBA yesterday. I'll bet NFL. I'm curious. Maybe he is. I'm not sure, but I know he was suspended for a game. I do remember reading that. But
for the Marshall one, at least, he's been on fire, man. I don't know if you've been paying attention.
Yeah, he's been very good.
I keep wanting to bet it, and then I'm like, am I really gonna bet this number for Najee Marshall? Like, is that like, especially like some of these games have been some tougher interior matchups too, but he keeps getting the job done. So I would say keep riding that Marshall train as long as you can, as long as, no Ingram and some of these other guys back taking away the usage. And then Sengun obviously has been pretty good with the assist recently. But yeah, I'm not sure about the Green thing. I would assume he's playing if you can bet on it.
Well, Najee's got Cleveland today, right? That's brutal. That's like one of the worst matchups you can have. Obviously, he's been hitting the three ball, so if he's able to hit it today, obviously that's the way you score on these guys. But I mean, if it doesn't fall, what are you gonna do? Because you ain't getting in the paint, you ain't getting down there at all. So it's just a tough matchup for me to really want to attack. Cleveland is like one of the worst teams for me to want to bet on. Like, if I see them playing someone, only time I'll bet on anybody else is when like Utah plays them, just because they all want to screw over Donovan Mitchell. So that's like the only time I was betting against them. In games. So it's just a weird, dude. They're just so slow. They're good defensively. They're great in the half court. It's just not a prop thing I really want to bet on. It's not a environment, right? We want shitty teams, bad defenses. Who gives a shit if they score? We're going to outscore you. That's what we're looking for in these prop games.
100%.
I 100% agree with this. If Turner is out, I am not sure his status. I know Halliburton is 100% out, but I'll take a look for Turner. That game is very early. I believe that's a 1:30 start, at least my time here. I was thinking about going to that game, but didn't make that one. Okay, he didn't play yesterday. Okay, perfect. So that means Green is playing there. All right, guys, we got a couple more questions here. We'll get to those after we roll through our first plays here, and I'll kick it to you to start us off. Someone did mention the Knicks game there, so I'm gonna put this one out there. Half unit play for you. What you got?
Yep, I went to Jalen Brunson under 24.5 points, and I know this is one that people may not like. You look at the little last 10 games or last 5 games, and he's absolutely on fire. And I understand the appeal right there, but we do got to remember this is still a guy that's only averaging around 22 points per game on the season as a whole. So we're already kind of getting a number higher than expectation, but obviously he's been playing very well recently. RJ Barrett now is back in the lineup, which it's been that way for a couple games now, but that's obviously another guy that's now going to play 30 plus minutes and compete for, between 15 to, and sometimes 25 shot attempts per game, which is obviously a bunch of volume right here. And what do we know about this Raptors defense? You kind of mentioned Cleveland earlier, right? The Raptors are in the same category for me, right? When I see a guy playing the Raptors, I don't really have much of an intention of playing the over unless they're a corner shooter or a spot up shooter, right? Because that's what the Raptors will allow. They play great individual defense, but they do give up those outside shots at time. And that's really not what Brunson is necessarily specializing in. If I wanted a guy to hit the three, I'd probably go to RJ first or even Randall, who's still taking like 10, 15 a game just because he feels like it. I don't
love that volume, baby. We like that volume.
But yeah, also we got the back-to-back, right? They played earlier on a back-to-back earlier this season, and Brunson scored 7 points in that game. And it's kind of been a trend all season long. He's averaging only 20 points per game on back-to-back so far this season, which is interesting. Not a trend I've been looking at as much this year as I have in past years, but it has been interesting to see that Brunson has really struggled in these situations. And then when we look at free throws, right? That's how he's really been doing very well recently. A lot of these recent games, you see 7, 10 free throw attempts. Well, Toronto's pretty good. They're top 10 in free throws allowed so far this season, sitting right around 10. So it's just a tough matchup overall. They play great individual defense. Brunson really thrives in that little mid-range, especially against teams that play this heavy drop, right? You get those big centers, they'll sacrifice that little mid-range. That's really where Brunson works very well in, but that's not what the Raptors do at all. The Raptors play great individual defense. They switch a lot. They trust their guys on these point guards. And I just think it's a very, very tough matchup for Brunson. I'd much rather go to a guy like RJ on the outside. He's going to just take a bunch of threes, or even Randall, who, like I said, is always just going to take a bunch of threes no matter what. So this is a show. We love Brunson here, right? This is a Brunson family. We've been supporters for a long time. I hope if you're watching right now, I hope you're not too mad at me, buddy. I hope you end up at 22, something respectable like that. But it's just a brutal matchup for him. I like some other guys on the Knicks first.
Yeah, it's almost criminal to bet on the under of Jalen Brunson on the show. I don't know if you'll ever see me do it, but I think this is a very inflated line. Again, we're looking at recency bias. Everyone is going towards this one. Obviously, Brunson was sitting at like 19 to 21 usually most games when they were all healthy, and obviously we're getting some usage going to RJ again. Probably 39 minutes just because it's Tibbs, so I do like that spot. You don't hear me say that very often, but I do like the spot on Vaden Brunson here. And let's take a look at a couple questions here, and we'll both get to our last picks. Talking with HX619, we got Siakam over 25 points, had a career night at MSG. Yeah, he was making everything. I haven't seen him shoot like that. Like outside game in that game was nuts. And I was on Siakam that night. I was on him heavy that night. So I do really like the spot. I almost liked the rebound. I think I had rebounds in that one too. And I always like taking rebounds against the Knicks because they're actually playing a little bit faster. They play good enough defense to get enough misses. And they're really outside of Mitchell Robinson. I mean, Julius Randle used to be a guy going for all those boards, but now he's just down there defensively on the defense rebounds, just sitting down there trying to grab them all. So I love Siakam. It's just, I don't know. I just think that these numbers are going to be boosted from that, right? You don't think the books probably will throw that in there just because they remember him dropping what? I think it was like 100 something fantasy points in that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously taken into account when they set the number. I like Siakam here. I mean, I like Siakam most days, right? This guy is kind of the model of consistency. He's always getting you in that like 20-point range. You kind of always have a fighting chance when you're betting on him. While some of these guys start out 0 for 5 and you kind of know you're cooked. With Siakam, you do always have that chance. The problem is I really just like to target him in matchups where there's just nobody in the paint, right? I love these points in the paint teams, right? Where he can just go get to work down there. That's not really the Knicks. The Knicks have a pretty solid paint defense. Like, he obviously had a great game last time, but Randall can obviously stick with him. Mitchell Robinson down there in the paint. Like, it's just one of those matchups where I'm not necessarily going out of my way to target him, but I would consider maybe like an alt line. You know, you do a little 2-leg same game parlay. You bring it down to maybe like 22 or something like that, and you find a pair. But not my favorite matchup, but I just like I support betting on Siakam in general.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though, is when I watched that game, he was hitting threes. He was hitting mid-range jumpers. Knicks are number 2 in the NBA in points in the paint allowed. They're very, very good at stopping drives and making you kick it. So, again, this might be another spot where maybe Siakam RA goes on my card just because I know he's going to be facilitating and finding a way. Was that you or is that me? I'm curious.
That's me. I'm sorry. I'm on my phone.
Good. No, you're good. You're good. I was just making sure that I didn't have it on here. That was missed some. But no, second team, second best team in points in the paint allowed. It's tough for me to want to bet on a guy who I know wants to score in the paint. and I don't want to trust him having to hit outside jumpers. It's tough for me to like. That's how he's going to have to score here. We got Terrence in here. Good to see you. Let's take a look at these last two from Terrence and Dan. Brooke Lopez double is like plus 900. I think that'd be a decent angle. Yeah, I don't think it'd be terrible. It's always tough for me to bet anybody else on rebounds outside of like Portis, because I know he goes for him heavy, and usually most of Brooks' minutes are with Giannis on the court, and Giannis is just going for everything. So it's always tough for me to want to bet on any other guy besides Portis or Giannis, because Portis is usually always out there without Giannis's usage out there. So he's always usually a guy I do look for as another big there, just with Budenholzer's rotation. So I don't think it would be bad. I almost like Lopez threes in this one. I just think that he's just going to be firing everything. Early game, he hits one, again, he will shoot like 20. That's just kind of the way he is. So maybe it's a spot where I go to threes. It's just always tough for me to bet on Brook Lopez just because I know he's with such a heavy usage guy. Second highest usage guy in the NBA. 95% of his minutes are with Giannis on the court, and that's what always scares me.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, the odds aren't bad. I don't think it's bad to sprinkle on right there, but also the blowout kind of concerns me. A guy like Portis would get more minutes in a game if they're up 15 or 20, right, than a guy like Lopez who's, got that veteran status. He can kind of ride the bench a little longer.
Perfect. And then last one, what's up, Turbo? Hope all is going well, my man. Happy MLK Day. And last one, Randall, points, rebounds, assists, 40.5. It has come down a little bit. Obviously with Barrett. I haven't bet him now. I bet him on the one show where Barrett was questionable. He played 30 minutes or he took enough shots. I think he had like 25 PRA. Barrett did, and then Randall obviously lost a lot of usage to him. So I haven't bet him since Barrett's there. I think his line's still inflated because of all the time without him. So I would probably stay away in a Toronto matchup where this game could be really, really, really ugly.
I agree with that 100%. It's one of those things where, you wish books would adjust faster. Sometimes you like a guy, right? But he's just coming off a great stretch and now someone's back, like an RJ, right? And the books just don't adjust that much. And it's just kind of unfortunate. So I kind of agree. It's still a little bit higher than maybe like the 38, 37 we were kind of used to earlier this year.
Perfect. And I can start us off here for our second round of plays. And I will be heading to the Miami Heat. Miami Heat, don't bet them very often because they always screw me with the late injury notice and all this crap that they should be getting fined millions and millions for because they just ruin all DFS slates. They are the curse of all DFS slates. That is the Miami Heat. Not sure on what injuries will all be going on today. I'm not sure if we're going to see some late news like we usually do with the Heat, but one consistency has been Bam Adebayo. Bam has been obviously fantastic this year. 32 points in his first game against Atlanta this year, averaging 21 and 10. But over these last couple games here, where we've seen some injuries, 22 and 11 over his last 6, which is since the start of the month, start of the new year. Obviously, Bam has been fantastic. I love attacking centers versus Atlanta. We might even see Clint Capella back, which in a small stint. But even if he does, Clint Capella ain't going out on the 3 ball. He's going to be sitting right under the paint. Let me grab some boards. I think if we got some ladder guys here in the chat, I think the rebound ladder would be a spot I would go to today. Because if you look at Atlanta, they are in the bottom 5 in every single rebounding category. Total rebounds, offensive rebounds allowed, defensive rebounds allowed. And it is going to be a bloodbath. If Bam wants to, Bam can do pretty much whatever he wants. Atlanta bottom 5 in points in the paint allowed, and Bam has just looked for a shot more often. What I really liked was they played against the Bucks, and Bam cooked them twice, right? Usually you don't see centers do that, but Bam had his little float game working. He was working off the bounce as well. I think that's going to be very, very important here against a much slower, could be very slow Clint Capella with this injury he's been having. I think it was calf injury. And then Onyeka Okongwu is nothing to write home about defensively. Obviously, goes for a lot of blocks, and he gets them. But Bam, he's a vet, man. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get fouls. He's been hitting the free throws pretty well, over 70%. I like everything about Bam today. I think that he's going to have to be a focal point of this offense. And I think even offensive rebounds, even if he doesn't get a ton of shots, getting them ran through him because now Tyler Hero's back in the lineup. Maybe we just see those dump-offs on offensive rebounds, right? He has the ability to do that and just score off of those as well. So sign me up. If you want a ladder, I would do the rebound specifically. I really like Bam today.
Yeah, I mean, Bam's the guy who I don't bet on Bam, man. But I would say that this is one of those spots where I would never play the rebounds at like 8.5 or 9.5, whatever it normally is. I play like 14. You know what I mean? I think this kind of sets up, like you said, for one of those games where he's going to be in the paint all game long, right? He's a great defender. He is great at getting out on the perimeter. There might not even be many better centers that can do that. Maybe none, honestly, that can defend on the perimeter like he can. They're not really going to ask him to do that as much in this game with a guy like Clint Capella or even a Kongwu. Neither of these guys are really getting out the paint to shoot too much, which I do think puts him in a great position to grab some of these rebounds. And then on offense, like you said, going against a guy like Capella kind of gives him a chance to get that little float game, not like the dunks, not right under the paint, but just slightly outside of the paint where he can work. It's not quite far enough to be called mid-range, just kind of that in-between area. And I do think Bam's actually very strong there. That might be kind of his best part of his offensive game. So I don't love Bam ever. Just wanted to get that out there for the people. But I do think this is one of the spots where I would agree. I'll definitely be tailing you because I do think the Hawks can be taken advantage of no matter who's playing center minutes.
Stu betting on Bam. Stu fading Brunson. It's a weird day today on Pass the Prob on this Monday. I actually think the Capella news actually kind of helps, honestly. They were not good in the paint anyway, even when he was playing. Like, I get it. He's been out for 3 weeks, right? All those games would matter, but they were still bottom 10. Now they're bottom 5. So obviously with Okongwu being the main guy, it's not getting any better. But they weren't great when he was playing because he did play the first month of the season. So I actually kind of think it's better. I don't mind. Yes. This would be my ladder. If you're going to ladder, this would be my one ladder that I would talk about. We talked about CeeDee Lamb yards, and I like these rebound spots. I really think that we could easily see 14 to 16 boards in this one. I think that we get a very nice plus money spot. Awesome. We'd love to see it, Bobby. We love to see it. And we kind of talked about this one. Talked about kind of Capella scared me off. I don't really think it does. And I mean, truly, you have a center coming off an injury that he hasn't played in 3 weeks, and it's a leg injury. I mean, you might see like 3-4 minute bursts, like maybe 18 minutes, right? I mean, I can't see him playing much more than that.
I mean, he wasn't playing high minutes anyway, right? There's a reason. If you know any Hawks fans, there was a lot of uproar about benching him for Okongwu when he was healthy earlier in the season. I like Capella more than I think the average basketball fan does, but I agree. It's not really 20 minutes of Capella is not something that would throw me off this play. In fact, like we kind of said, I almost like it a little bit more that way, actually.
Love it. All right, last play of the day. Take it away.
Yeah, speaking of mixing things up, instead of betting on the Wizards, I'll be betting against the Wizards right here. Stephen Curry over 27.5 points, minus 110 on DraftKings, already up to 28 on FanDuel. So a nice little 1 point difference right there over on DraftKings. Dang, well, I did see Bradley Beal's going to miss this game. I was kind of hoping Beal would play. Beal does this thing where he loves to think he can guard opposing number ones, which he really can't that well, but he'll be sitting out once again. We see Monty Morris should be suiting up again for this one as well. I saw you could bet him on DraftKings out there. I think he has the questionable tag right now, as do a couple Wizards guys, but I'm going to assume they go out there and play. I think this sets up for Curry. He's not been great since coming back from the injury. Obviously, still shaking off a little bit of rust. I think this kind of sets up as one of those opportunities where he can have one of those pop-off games. He's had some great success. Hit this in 3 of his last 4 games against the Wizards, including 25 shot attempts in all of those games. So for whatever reason, when he plays us, he loves to absolutely shoot the ball. And this isn't an uncommon thing with the Wizards against star players so far this season. According to the FTN advanced player matchups tool, the Wizards are bottom 5 against both superstars and scorers so far this year, and that passes every single eye test because we just don't double that much. We trust our guys in one-on-one defense, and while we do have some good one-on-one defenders, that starts to hurt you a lot more when you go from an average point guard, someone like a Mike Conley, right? You can play one-on-one defense against him. You can play one-on-one DeJounte Murray, but when you get to Stephen Curry, when you get to that elite level, we really do struggle because we just don't allocate enough help, right? Delon Wright will probably see 20 minutes. He's been playing great this season, but it's a little bit different when it's a guy like Stephen Curry, especially someone that is so good at screen navigation. As someone that has watched this Wizards team over the last 2 seasons under Wes Unseld Jr., we cannot deal with guards that are always moving around. Our guys get so lost. We have a pretty young crew out there, a lot of younger guys, Kispert, Denny, Rui, but still, man, we are getting absolutely lost at some of this crazy screen navigation. And obviously, the Warriors are the best team in basketball at doing that, right? The ways they get Curry open is ungodly creative. So I love Curry in this spot. I think he's going to go for one of those 30-plus games. I mean, I don't know if the ladder odds are that good. I haven't checked them out so far, but I know he hasn't been playing this great recently. I know we're coming back from injury. I just think this sets up as a perfect spot with no Klay Thompson. Hidden, I believe, 3 or 4 games without Klay this season so far. So I just have some confidence that Curry gets things turned around right here. I think we see the volume go above 20 shots, and I think the Wizards have a lot of trouble keeping up with him.
Beautiful. I know Warriors are getting a little bit more healthy. Obviously, that makes them a little more dangerous as well. I think Andrew Wiggins is finally back, obviously there, but he's not playing the full allotment of minutes in there yet. And it's kind of nice not to watch this Jordan Poole run in circles anymore. That was just terrible basketball.
You don't like watching Jordan Poole travel 8 times a game and just,
Dude, I hated watching Jordan Poole, bro. I hated watching, say he goes and plays in like a shit team. Like, I don't even know what team I would even put him on. Like, say he goes on a team that's really, really bad. Can you imagine just like him having like a 35% usage rate? I would hate it. I wouldn't even, you couldn't even get people buy tickets there because it would just be turnover. We're down 30. Jordan Poole pulling from like 40 feet, trying to impress some girl on the sideline like he always does, bro. Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm very glad he's stuck in a specific role where he doesn't get to freestyle. Because when we do see him freestyle in these games where nobody plays, it's real ugly. So I'm with you there. I think Curry has a great game.
Z-Man, you already know what we're doing on that. I don't know if I'm going to do attempts today. I really don't. Their run block advantage is like minus 30%. I just checked this morning. But I mean, we could also see him. You talked about how accurate he is. I mean, if I'm ever going to bet anything, it's going to be completions. The attempts was just with Herbert last time. I couldn't get away from that one. That one just seemed too low. Dan bringing up our DGen parlay. Obviously, I know a lot of people want to see these. We had Terrence in here too, who just loves to see these big numbers on plays. So Dan did the work for you. Found it almost 45-1. Hey, I've spent $20 on worse things, or whatever 0.3 units is for you. I've spent $20 or $10 on worse things. So I'll be rolling. I'll try it out today.
And if you're right, then I'm going to spend a lot more than $10 betting on T.Y. Hilton tonight. So maybe this is how you make your money back right here.
Oh gosh. Oh dude, I can't even get myself to bet on T.Y. Hilton, dude. Oh my God. I don't know if I could click it. Turbo bringing up the DK boost, which have been absolutely no, I think it was FanDuel. I think FanDuel has the boost that just every one of them always loses. But DK to throw has Brady to throw 2 touchdowns at plus 100. Are they screwing us? I mean, the total is pretty high, right? I mean, it's a decent total for a playoff game, and all of these playoff games have been relatively high scoring for what we thought they were going to be.
Haven't they all gone over? Literally, hasn't every single one?
What was Cincinnati's? What was it?
It was low. I'm pretty sure it went over last night. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure. Wasn't it like 40 something? Like 42? I don't know.
Wasn't it 24-17?
Who knows? I thought it was 40, but I have no clue.
Oh, okay, 40. If it was 40, then it went over. Yeah, I know it was 41 was the final total. Terrence, skip the fancy coffee, smash the DJ. Hey, like I said, 45-1. I've spent money on worse. Oh, okay, so 40.5, so it cleared by half. So, yeah. But wouldn't it be it would just be the NFL to just have it, all of them hit, and then they get on primetime. Everybody's just throwing all the money they won on them on this game, and it goes under. So,
oh, yeah.
Dude, I don't know. That's why I don't bet totals, even though obviously you would have been doing pretty well if you did this week. No, I had someone in our chat, and I think I saw a lot of Twitter guys talking about Justin Jefferson and leading the game in yards, and he was like the 5th. Yeah. He was behind Hodgins. He was behind Slayton. He was behind Hawkinson. Dude, it was they took a lot of people's money on that play. And it ended up getting down to like minus 120 too.
I know. I almost bet Slayton because I saw a bunch of guys bet Jefferson, and McKinney was back for the Giants, who's the safety. For people that don't know, very good safety out there. I knew the doubles were going to be coming hard. That's why I had Hawkinson out on Twitter. So I was thinking like, who do I go for and I was thinking Slayton because Slayton was higher odds than Richie James, and I liked Richie James that game, but Slayton just runs straight downfield. Like that is exactly the kind of bet you'd want to make. But it was only plus 900. I was kind of hoping maybe a little bit higher than that with how dominant Jefferson's been, but unfortunately not. And whoa, did you just see this breaking news?
Fucking A, dude.
Wow.
Well, he hasn't really been playing much these last couple weeks either, isn't he? I guess I'd rather him sit out these games, and I still think they win the game, but
yeah. Interesting. Damn. Well, shout out to that guy in the beginning of the show. It looks like you won't have to worry about betting Giannis over and under anymore, but we'll see.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, dude, I don't know what Kirk was doing, bro. I really don't. But, dude, I was so happy. I got so lucky, too, because I had my Stat Hero, my biggest play on there in a while. I took Richie James plus 3.5 receptions versus Jefferson. And Richie comes through, and I'm like, oh, my God, dude. He ended up catching that last one. I really wanted to catch the one that he was coming across the middle because I should have cashed John's other play on Richie James receiving yards. But he ended up catching, like, 2 bogus behind the line catches. I'm like, hey, Richie, do it for the people. He ended up doing it because I think Jefferson had 7 and James had 4. So I ended up cashing that one. That one was close. He made me sweat for that one because Jefferson had like 5 catches on the first 2 drives.
Yeah. Crazy. No, that was an odd game, and yeah, Kirk got absolutely destroyed after the game. I saw a pretty funny comparison. I saw some guy on Twitter who was saying like it's like you've been talking to this girl for a long time, and you think things are going real well. Maybe she hits you up late at night. You're like, okay, where's this going? And then it falls off. But then you get a little bit more hope. Things cool down. It starts to heat up again. You're talking again, and it's just a cycle. It never goes anywhere. You get your hopes up. You think, is today the day? Is it a win? And it's never a win for Kirk Cousins. So unfortunate, man. I mean, they had a good season, I guess. DVOA would disagree. I think they're like a bottom 10 team DVOA. But yeah, brutal end to the season. And yeah, good luck Vikings. See Kirk Cousins there next year.
I know you're a huge Kirk Cousins fan, so I know this hurts because I always bash Kirk, and you're always his boy. So.
Well, I don't love Kirk Cousins. I think he's like a mid-level quarterback. I wouldn't say I'm part of the fan club.
If Kirk Cousins played at non-noon times, the man is a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL. Okay, I take Desmond Ridder over his ass, and that's put my neck out on the line, dude. What the hell? Like, how do you do that at the end of the game? Like, yeah. I get it. You want to boost the stats, right? You got to boost them. But on the last play, 4th down and 7. There was only one guy that wasn't passing. I literally watched that last play, and they did the slow-mo. There's only one guy who wasn't past 7 yards. You could do it to anybody else. There was 4 other receivers out there, all of them past line of scrimmage, at least even if it's incomplete, right? Even if it's incomplete, at least you went out like on your shield. On that one, it just looks like you're trying to play it safe. Like they had 2 guys there. Hawkinson was doing everything. They had 2 guys there for him. And it was so tough, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not here to defend Kirk on that. I'll just say, though, the play call looked pretty fucking terrible, too. I mean, Hawkinson running that little whatever over the middle. Jefferson was in double coverage. That was pretty much automatically crossed out. And the other 2 routes were KJ Osborne running deep down the middle. And then, Thielen running like a deep curl that he hadn't even developed in time. So it was an odd play call. I don't know who was the intended target when they drew that up, unless it was just Hawkinson the whole time. I'm not sure, but Thielen was like in no man's land out there. Osborne was not open, and Jefferson was in double coverage. So obviously, Kirk, you need to just throw that up there, buddy. You can't just do that, right? You just throw it up to double coverage and Jefferson, and at least, like you said, you go home with some pride. But I mean, you got to give the play calling a little bit of criticism there as well, because that was just odd.
Yeah, like even like Tyler Huntley, right at the end of that game, he just chucked it up in the end zone. He almost caught it, right? Yep. At least there was a chance, right? At least you have a chance, like. You did what you wanted on that Hawkinson one, and it didn't do anything for you. So like I get it, but at least like Huntley gave you a chance on chucking it up like that. And that last couple drives, like Mark Andrews just torching them like that really scares me when you have to deal with Dawson Knox, who decides he's a good tight end again, Gabe Davis in the playoffs, who's a top 5 receiver all time now. The dude is a top 5 receiver ever, bro. If he just plays playoff games. 113 again and a tutty. Like this guy, if he played playoff games, man, he's gonna go down top 5 all time, bro. He's averaging like 115 yards a game in the playoffs. It's nuts. I love it though, and I hate it because I draft him in fantasy, and the dude's ass. He sucks the whole regular season. And now I think he's like averaging like 1.8 touchdowns per game in these, and obviously he had a 4 touchdown game in those, but still almost 2 touchdowns a game is absurd. So I might just have to bet Gabe Davis touchdown every single playoff game forever.
Yeah, the Bills might want to consider maybe hiring like a hypnotist, going like maybe someone that can just convince him that every game is a playoff game. Maybe go an alternative route, maybe something like that.
Dude, it's wild, man. Yeah, exactly. He's the anti-primetime Kirk. Anti-noon Kirk. Like even in regular season game we played at noon, like he kind of just looked scared. Like when he played the Eagles, dude, he was just running for his life. And yeah, it's NFC North bows out early, so it's all good. All right. Ready for a quick recap here?
Oh, yeah. Started out Jalen Brunson under 24.5 points, minus 115. I'm playing this one for half units against the Raptors. And then went over Steph Curry against my Washington Wizards, over 27.5 points, minus 110 over on DraftKings.
I'll be in the NFL game. Over 73.5 receiving yards at minus 114 for CD Lamb. And then Bam Adebayo facing the Hawks. Love facing the Hawks here for big guys. Over 31.5 points rebounds. Stu, think about your long shot here. I'll pull up mine just because everybody's been posting it as a D-Gen parlay here. So I would definitely – I like the 14 and the 16 rebounds on Bam there. And if you want to be a crazy man, wherever I can find where is it? This one. I'll throw this out. Bam 16 with CD at 125. Like I said, I've spent 0.3 units on dumber things in my life, so give me that one. I think Lamb 125 is like plus 500 on its own, so definitely like that one as well.
Yeah, no, coming off hitting Cole Beasley touchdown 12-1 yesterday. I already told you, man, we're going T.Y. Hilton. I got him at plus 850 yesterday. I don't know what the best price is currently on the market, but give me a T.Y. Hilton touchdown tonight. And if there's an alt line, I didn't see any alt lines on his receiving yards. I'd go up to like 40 or 50. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but I'm counting on it being on one catch, right? I don't think he's getting like 5 catches tonight. So I wouldn't mind that as well.
Alrighty, and I'll probably be betting Zeke anytime touchdown because he literally does nothing else. He's like Jamal Williams, but with less explosion, dude. The dude runs 1 yard every time, but I'm still going to be on my boy Pollard in some way, shape, or form. He made the thumbnail. He's going to find his way on the card. So, yeah, should be an exciting game. I'm actually really excited to watch the Cowboys game, which I never thought I'd say. So it should be interesting. Should be an interesting one. Obviously, 2.5 point. I think we both lean on the Dallas side, but I think we should see a fun one tonight. So, yep, we got through our recap. Got our long shots out there for you. Anything you got to say, Stu, before we pop out today?
Nope. I mean, hopefully a lot of guys, got the holiday today, hanging out with their friends, family. Just sit back, enjoy the game, win some bets. I'll probably have maybe an article or a same-game parlay, a long shot for tonight's game. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably have something on CD Lamb as well a little bit later. So, yeah, man, just a lot of more good stuff to bet on. We'll be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, God. There we go. That's a lock right there.
Yeah, once Terrence wins this one, wins about what? Maybe like that million, the guy who lost that or won that million or close to that million on the 1-inch line from Justin Jefferson. He hits this, he could be a sponsor of the show, huh?
If that happened to me, I wouldn't come back. Like,
I would quit gambling, bro. For sure.
Like
I quit.
That's like I feel bad for I don't even know who it is, and I saw that and that's like he thought he had it. He hit the gritty. He thought he was probably jumping up and down. He was spending the money already. And then
well, it sucked because the Chase one didn't hit yet, right? So like he's like,
true,
dude. All right, hey, let's just have Jamar Chase not score the first one. That would make me feel bad.
Yeah. Ugh.
If I win this, I'm sponsoring PTP for all February. 5 to win 1,900. Yeah, that ain't bad. That ain't that. Like I said, I've spent $5 on worse. Just don't buy those chicken McNuggets from McDonald's and throw them on that parlay and watch the money grow. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck again. Thank you guys for all supporting us, even on your day off. Hopefully, if you guys have your day off, appreciate you guys popping in. And hopefully we'll be able to talk some winners for Wednesday show. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck and happy MLK Day.